G'day mates! In 1986, one film took the entire world by storm. With a charming grin, a weathered Akubra hat, and a knife that could stop a mugger in his tracks, Crocodile Dundee wasn't just a movie, it was a global phenomenon. It turned the Australian Outback into a box office goldmine and made Paul Hogan an international superstar overnight. But behind that famous fish-out-of-water fantasy, the real story was far wilder than anything you saw on screen. The tale of the real-life Dundee has a dark and tragic ending. Hollywood executives tried to kill the film before it was even finished, and a quiet on-set romance would change the star's life forever. Today, we're heading deep into the bush to uncover the hidden secrets of this 80s classic. If you love discovering the untold stories behind your favourite movies, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Now grab your gear, because here are 10 things you didn't know about Crocodile Dundee. Number 10. The dark, tragic story of the real Dundee. Before Mick Dundee, there was Rod Ansell, a real-life bushman whose incredible story of survival captivated Australia. In the late 70s, Ansell's boat capsized in a remote river, leaving him stranded in the wilderness for 56 days. He survived by hunting wild game, drinking cow's blood, and sleeping in trees to avoid crocodiles. His story inspired Paul Hogan to create the character of Mick Dundee. But while the film ended with a fairy tale romance in New York, Ansell's life took a tragic turn. He struggled to adapt to his newfound fame and years later became involved in a drug-fueled standoff with police that ended in a violent shootout. Both Ansell and a police officer lost their lives. The legend that inspired the charming hero we all loved went out in a storm of bullets, casting a long, dark shadow over the film's myth. Number 9. He funded it himself. When Paul Hogan first pitched the idea for Crocodile Dundee, Hollywood studios laughed him out of the room. They thought the concept was too Australian, too strange, and that the humour would never connect with American audiences. Undeterred, and believing in his vision, Hogan decided to do it himself. He co-wrote the script and, along with his creative partner John Cornell, raised the budget from private investors, including many of their friends. It was a massive gamble on a project no studio would touch. That gamble paid off spectacularly, creating the highest-grossing Australian film of all time and a global smash hit. Number 8. American execs walked out of the first screening. Even after the film was made, the struggle wasn't over. When American execs at Paramount sat down for the first screening, they were completely bewildered. They didn't understand the slang, the humour felt alien, and the pacing seemed too slow. Some execs reportedly walked out after just 20 minutes, convinced it would be a colossal failure. One even suggested dubbing over Paul Hogan's thick Aussie accent to make it more mainstream. Hogan and his team flatly refused, stood their ground, and released the film on their own terms. It went on to earn over $300 million worldwide, becoming one of the biggest sleeper hits in history. Number 7. The real-life inspiration for the New York story. The entire fish-out-of-water concept didn't come from a writer's room, it came from Paul Hogan's own experience. During a promotional trip to New York City in the early 80s, Hogan was walking through Manhattan when he witnessed a group of people verbally attacking a homeless man. The cruelty and aggression of the city shocked him. The thought stuck with him. What would happen if someone like Mick, a man from the bush with a simple, kind worldview, was dropped into this concrete jungle? The idea for the film began right there, not as a simple comedy, but as a commentary on the contrast between two wildly different worlds. Number 6. Why the title has quotation marks. In Australia, the film was released with a simple title, Crocodile Dundee. But when it was brought to the United States, test audiences were confused. Some thought Crocodile Dundee was a place, others believed it was a documentary about an actual crocodile. To avoid confusion and signal to audiences that Crocodile was a nickname, the studio made a small but crucial change, adding quotation marks around the word. Crocodile Dundee was born, and the simple punctuation change helped turn a quirky Australian character into a global brand. Number 5. The terrifying, unscripted crocodile encounter. While the on-screen crocodile fights were carefully staged with mechanical and rubber props, the danger on set was very real. One morning,
While filming near a watering hole in the Northern Territory, the cast and crew were startled by sudden shouts. A real wild crocodile had wandered onto the set overnight, likely drawn by the smell of food. It slipped back into the water before anyone could react, but the message was clear. Production was shut down for the day, and from that point on, armed guards were posted during every scene filmed near water. Number 4. "That's not a knife" was improvised. It's one of the most quoted movie lines of the entire decade, but it wasn't in the original script. During the scene where Mick and Sue were confronted by a mugger, the scripted line was something simple and forgettable. Feeling the moment needed more punch, Paul Hogan ad-libbed the now legendary exchange, "That's not a knife, that's a knife." The crew on set burst out laughing, and the line became the film's most iconic moment, proving that sometimes the sharpest wit comes from pure instinct. Number 3. The subway scene's heartbreakingly real origin. The film's famous romantic finale, where Mick's message is passed down a crowded subway platform, feels uniquely raw and personal. That's because it was. Months before filming, Paul Hogan was in a Manhattan train station trying to say goodbye to someone, but he felt completely overwhelmed and disconnected by the sheer size and noise of the crowd. He was surrounded by people, yet felt totally alone. He held on to that feeling of being small and unheard, and when it came time to write the ending, he channeled that personal memory into the script. The scene resonates so deeply because it came from a real human moment of vulnerability. Number 2. The on-screen romance that became real life. The chemistry between Mick Dundee and Sue Charlton was so believable because behind the scenes it was real. Paul Hogan and American actress Linda Kozlowski fell in love during the long, isolated months of filming in the Australian Outback. At the time, Hogan was married, and as the film's success exploded, their on-set romance became tabloid fodder. Eventually, Hogan and his wife divorced, and he and Kozlowski married, staying together for over 20 years. The film didn't just bring them fame, it completely reshaped their lives. Number 1. The secret American version. When Paramount Pictures acquired the US distribution rights, they feared American audiences wouldn't get the distinctly Australian humour. So they created a different version of the film for the international market. Over 60 lines of Aussie slang, wordplay, and local jokes were either cut completely or rewritten to be more generic. Phrases like fair dinkum were removed entirely. While this Americanized version was the one that became a global smash, for many Australian fans, the original cut remains the true Crocodile Dundee, a little sharper, a little funnier, and completely unapologetic. Crocodile Dundee wasn't supposed to work. It was too local, too sincere, and it broke all the Hollywood rules. But with a whole lot of heart and a charming grin, it proved that a great story knows no borders. What's your favourite moment from the film? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.